Hey there everybody. So after my last video recapping all the content that was released in Genshin Impact 2022, I had one key thought about what I wanted most coming into 2023, and it's really the thing I wanted most in Genshin since the start of the game. And to not beat around the bush here, the number one thing I want in 2023 is more co-op functionality. I feel like throughout 2022, Hoyoverse has really mastered exactly what the players want from an exploration standpoint, but they haven't really built on the co-op at all, barring the occasional limited time event, and obviously at the end of the year the card game was added, which is a nice co-op function. But from a core gameplay perspective, there's really not a whole lot for players to do with one another. In the overworld or main exploration, there's a lot of things that you can't do in co-op, and from a domain perspective, almost every single domain in the game is easier done in single player versus doing it in co-op. So there's very little incentive for late game players to do the co-op in terms of domain runs. And to be clear, I don't want forced co-op content, kind of like what Honkai Impact does, where there's certain things that you need to do co-op for weekly. I don't want that. I just want more functionality in terms of general support. For example, a Spiral Abyss with some co-op options, or an altogether Spiral Abyss with co-op. Again, the rewards don't have to be very large or at all, just something that you can do with players. And generally for the limited time events that are co-op, I think they should just be permanent features in the game. Stuff like Wind Trace, for example. And another big pet peeve for me as someone who's played a lot of From Software games is the fact that there's no character gestures in this game. How? That would be so easy to make, and you know it would be a nice feature to have. And lastly, going back to how story progression can't be done in co-op, I don't know how they can't do like a Dying Light situation where co-op progression carries over in a different world. Overall, I think Genshin Impact achieved a lot in 2022, but it's constantly irritated me for the last 2 years now that co-op seems like more of an afterthought. I feel like it's the biggest part of Genshin that is missing right now. But obviously, that's just my opinion. It's really hard to get a general consensus in the community just because of how large it is. So if anyone's actually watching this video, I'd really appreciate it if you left what you wanted to see most in 2023 for Genshin. And yeah, that's really all I have to say. Oh, and I made a Discord and the links are in the description. There's like only 5 people there. I'm really lonely. Please join it if you want to. If you don't, I'll just be lonely still, so no worries.